By having really healthy skin externally, it's generally a reflection of good, healthy gut microbiota. And so there's this systemic inflammatory pattern that happens when you have inflammation in your gut. You're going to have inflammation in your skin. Once I got to the root cause and started cleaning out those biotoxins, my gut calmed down. And when my gut calmed down and my skin started to decrease in sensitivity and redness and inflammation, my brain felt better. The real benefit of sweating every day is it detoxifies your skin. And it's one of the best ways you can keep your skin super healthy is just to have a good sweat. We're going to talk about how the skin and the gut relate. And then we're also going to be diving into some things you can do for collagen. Hello and welcome everybody to the Health Accelerator community. And I just want to let you guys come in here and express appreciation. And I want to hear anybody's recent wins. I had a big win. My son and I, he was running and he was at the top of Guardsman. So I live in Midway, and if you know where Guardsman's Pass is it's at the top of Big Cottonwood Canyon. And it's about a 4,500 foot elevation gain from my house. And he ran it, and I happened to be in Salt Lake on Monday for Labor Day, and he said, "Hey, can you bring water?" And I was like, "Hey, let me come run down. I'll run home with you." And so I luckily I try to always bring exercise gear just in case the fun adventure strikes my fancy. And so I was able to run down from Guardsman's home about 11 miles and did it in just about 8-minute miles. So fast pace. Yes, it was downhill, but it's a very steep climb. It's one of the hardest cycling climbs in Utah, Guardsman. So for those of you who know it, you can relate. But anyone else have any cool wins, great things going on in your life? Plug it in. I'd love to hear it. So good to have many of you on. We have some new people in here today too. And so just so you guys understand the format, this is a platform where you can ask any questions, any insights you need on anything, or if you're stuck in a certain area in your health journey, this is how we provide support. And then what I love doing is just sharing some new breakthroughs and helping you guys understand human physiology, because what we're all trying to create is an ageless future. And this ageless future is it's not going to happen alone. That's why we created the Ageless Future community. We have the Ageless Future Academy that's coming up, and we've got our next retreat, our summit on the heart and cardiovascular health is coming up September 16th and 17th. We do have a few spots left. We're going to have Steve D'Annunzio. He's going to be doing some training on consciousness. So if you're not signed up and if you are ready to go to the next level, this is our preparation phase for the Ageless Future Academy. So I'd love to have you guys there. Just let me know in the chat box. You can go to agelessfuture.com and get signed up. So today I'm going to talk about some new technology just as we dive in. And today we're really going deep on the gut-brain axis. We're going to talk about how the skin and the gut relate. And then we're also going to be diving into some things you can do for collagen and how to build this beautiful brain of yours. But before we jump in, I want to share with you guys some new technology and some of the new things I've been looking into when it comes to optimizing health. And if you can see my screen, you'll see I'll be talking about what's called Stratosphere. And it's an altitude training chamber. And many of you say, oh, it's hyperbarics, but this is a completely different technology outside of hyperbarics. It's been developed over the last 13 years. This is, these chambers, there's very few in the United States, but this is where in our Ageless Future Centers, we will have the Stratosphere. So what is it? This is the way, I was joking with the founder of the company. We're comparing VO2 max and age and everything. And then we said, well, the Stratosphere, he said, this is going to increase your VO2 max. And that was like the big hook, when we first met. Chris Voss connected us. And Chris is like, should I do this, Regan? And I was like, yes. And so what it is it's a way that he's, the founder of the company, is looking to live to be 200. And I said, well, my goal is 222. And so we both just laughed, but we connected because we realized with technology, we're talking about peptides to increase EPO. And he's like, well, Stratosphere increases EPO by 3 times. And to increase EPO by 3 times is like just crazy, because that shows how effective the oxygenation is in your blood and your body. And so what this machine does is it takes you to different altitudes, higher and lower. So different than just a hyperbaric chamber, this one actually mimics hypoxia and hypobaria. So it's a great oxygen training chamber. So here's some of the things you can do. You exercise when you're in it. So a lot of athletes are using it. They're seeing dramatic improvements. This Paralympic athlete, he won the gold for the U.S. in sprinting, and you can see him in there. They talk about what it does as far as transforming athletic performance, mental performance. The biggest thing for you and I is the ability for our body to have this stress or hormetic process, or agitates our body so that our body comes back stronger and more resilient. So this is one of the best ways that you can essentially be performing here with me in Utah, even when you're at sea level. It reduces inflammation, improves mental clarity, almost feels the decision-making, problem-solving when you get out of these chambers is unreal. Improves oxygen and circulation, improves mitochondria, tolerance to stress, antioxidant production, it reduces blood pressure. So many of these things change, but the biggest thing that intrigued me was just the jump in VO2 max. And they're seeing people's VO2 max increase after a single session by 10 to 15%. The other device that we've been using for that is the NanoV, which in their placebo-controlled trials, they found it improved VO2 max by about 7%. But with the Stratosphere, it's a whole nother level, and you can see all these athletes using it. This is something where you think of this genetic expression that happens is one of the most impressive things, because you start turning on genes that were dormant. So you increase nitric oxide, you increase your oxygen utilization, VO2 max, endurance, recovery, balances blood sugar. So it's, I think that you're going to hear more and more about these into the future, but one of my goals and one of my jobs in the Ageless Future community is to bring the medical innovations, share it with you, test it out myself, and then make sure that you guys have access to this. This equipment the overall goal of the company is to make this accessible in every single person's home who wants it. And I can see this from a peptide perspective and turning on pathways in your body. This is very unique because it turns on your collagen production, collagen synthesis, enzymes, glycoproteins. And one of the things that can also do is help fortify cells in your body. They've actually done studies where they've seen the increase in circulating stem cells just from the promotion of red blood cells. And anytime you're using EPO agonist, like we used a peptide historically called ARA290, and that peptide is phenomenal because it increases your EPO. And when you increase that, you have just much better utilization of energy in your body. It lowers cholesterol. You get increase in testosterone from it. And this machine mimics a lot of things we're doing on the peptide side. So this will be a way of getting a mega dose of peptides. So anyway, I wanted to share that with you guys. As promised, I'll share the medical innovations, and then we can jump into the hack. But by the way, and I know there's lots of good adventures. Where New Jersey, that location is taking off. We're getting ready to get things going in Denver, Seattle. We'll be in Little Rock, Arkansas. Saturday and Sunday, we're doing a 2-day event down there that is sold out, and we're so excited. So those of you who will be down there in Arkansas with us, can't wait to meet you in person. But the reason I do what I do is because I want health to be accessible. I want to create an ageless future for you, where you can be asking your future self, where am I going? And is this activity, or does this therapy, does this food, does this exercise protocol help me become the best version of my healthy self in the future? And I want better decision making I want to create clarity so you have the ability to make better decisions. One thing I'll ask you guys today too is, following the hard, easy principle, from the book, The Slight Edge, what's the decision that's hard right now in your life that will make life easier in the future? How many of you are exercising now, and it was really hard to start getting that cadence and start exercising, but now it's easy? I mean, the reason why I shared my son as a win is because, 60 days ago he wasn't running, and now he's signed up for an ultramarathon, a 50-mile run, and he ran all the way up to Guardsman's, all the way down, almost 20 miles. And 2 months ago he wasn't running, and it's just so cool to see what happens when you can apply yourself as a human. And yes, he had some secret weapons with his dad's peptides, but I want to create that opportunity for as many humans as I possibly can. And so when you guys introduce your friends to us, I can't thank you enough. And I know several of you on here have referred over just amazing humans. And our goal is to create lifetime relationships so that everybody has a home when it comes to their health. They have a caring team, people who are looking out for your future and actually doing the work. The amount of work that goes on behind the scenes for your health is even more than what you see in when we're in front of you. And so these are some things where some of the big reasons why we do what we do. And I've been at this 21 years, love what I do. Every day gets more and more exciting. And so today, with that said, how can we create your ageless future? Well, it comes down to this nice axis. We call it the brain, the heart, and the muscle axis. And we're going to kind of peel off from this today. And we're going to talk more about this gut-brain axis, because one thing I just finished up is my microbiota transplant. And I don't know if any of you have done that or taken a deep dive, but we will be talking more about microbiota. And the big thing I noticed is just how it calmed down my brain. I've done a lot of work on my brain, as you guys know. I have a lot more work to do. But just having this connection where your gut and your biome is informing all of the inflammatory markers in your body. The microbiota informs neurotransmitter production and secretion. It helps with what's called neuromuscular adaptation, so that when you work out hard, your body can recover even faster. And then the one thing that we've looked at too is when you think of what goes on in the brain, there's this crosstalk between how your skin interacts. And a lot of times we just think of this gut-brain axis, but it's actually the brain-skin axis as well. And if you think about it, we have more DNA for bacteria than we do human DNA. And the way that our bacteria colonizes is in your gut, and you've got roughly the same volume from just a weight perspective, roughly 3.5 pounds of biome or bacteria in your gut, and your brain weighs about 3.5 pounds. And then if you think of the colonization of the bacteria, primarily it's in the gut, but the second place is the skin. And the skin is simply a reflection of your gut turned inside out. Because if you think of the gut when you swallow, it's skin on the inside, and it's the barrier that protects your body against anything that could be damaging towards it. And so by having really healthy skin externally, it's generally a reflection of good, healthy gut microbiota. And so there's this systemic inflammatory pattern that happens when you have inflammation in your gut. You're going to have inflammation in your skin. And when I was going through my own health crisis in my early 20s, where I started developing eczema pretty severely that turned into psoriasis, little patches of psoriasis. And at the same time, I had really just horrible gut health. I mean, I had frequent bowel movements throughout the day. I'd eat food; it would go straight through me. As I'm like swelled up, gaining weight, it just made no sense. But then I learned about the gut connection and all the glyphosate in my body from the Roundup that I've been exposed to, and formaldehyde and other chemical agents and biotoxins. But once I got to the root cause and started cleaning out those biotoxins, my gut calmed down. And when my gut calmed down and my skin started to decrease in sensitivity and redness and inflammation, my brain felt better. And it was pretty amazing. And I think many of you have experienced that. And so if you think about our biology, there's many things that are symptomatic when it comes to gut health. You see this atopic dermatitis, you see ADHD. And by the way, I don't know if I'm supposed to share this knowledge, but there is a smoking gun now that's been established with kids who are born with autism. And this is going to be released by the government. As you know, I do some work with the Make America Healthy Again. One of the things is they're realizing that Tylenol is a big contributing factor. And it's when the mother is taking Tylenol during the pregnancy. And then when the baby has a fever and Tylenol is given, and especially after the kids have had multiple vaccines, the vaccine schedule's pretty out of control these days, from what I've seen. But that brings on some of these symptoms of autism, and so there will be, in all the data that's been analyzed. I mean, this was something with the Trump administration and RFK really wanting to get to why are the incidences of autism continually increasing. And one of the big culprits may be Tylenol. So stay tuned for that. But a big part of where you can sense the health of a kid is looking at their skin. And some of these little issues with dermatitis, you'll also notice they're more likely to have asthma. They're more likely to have development delays and especially cognitive delays. So this is where the food that you eat as a human, I'm always baffled when I go to people's houses and even my family at a certain time where they, adults eat one thing and then kids are getting warmed up chicken nuggets and garbage food. And this is the time of our life when we want to be colonizing and developing the best flora possible. And you can't do that if you're not eating great foods. And so hopefully this is a reminder to all of you, when you do decide to make that harder choice, which is I'm going to food prep and I'm going to get food from a source that, yes, it may be a bigger investment, but I'm going to do the hard thing and learn how to feed my body the nutrients it needs versus doing what everybody else does, eating out and eating food that is not beneficial. So some of the things we want to look at when we're going into this, the skin brain link is we're starting to see that there's going to be different markers that are tracked. And even they're looking at this as a potential link with Alzheimer's disease. Because once again, Alzheimer's disease, it's been called type 3 diabetes. And I think, it's just, it is what it is. It's an energy crisis in the brain. And it's what's fueling the brain. And like I mentioned earlier, it's this microbiota is making all of these unique molecules to help feed the brain. And so in the future, and right now, even you can start looking at your skin, look at the pH of your skin, the hydration. You can simply just pinch your skin. And does it flatten immediately? If your skin bunches up on the top of your hand then you're dehydrated and you've got some issues with elasticity. You can have poor capillary flow in your skin, and this would be something that I would be absolutely fixated on. So when you come to one of the retreats or next time you're in the office, grab me and I'll do the pinch test on you. I won't pinch you too hard, but you can do it yourself too. It's a really simple way of seeing how healthy the gut is. The other thing that we look at is what are ways we can rebuild the skin. And this is where applying dermal exosomes. And for those of you who worked with Dr. Steinley in the office, she's got that dermal roller, and it's got these little tiny microscopic needles on there. And you can apply exosomes to your face, and you can just easily roll that in. One of the best things you can do. You can do exosomes intramuscular as an IV. And what exosomes have been shown to do is they have the ability to traverse the blood-brain barrier, but these are just little molecules, little vesicles that turn on stem cells in your body. And exosomes, they have anti-inflammatory effects that have been well documented. They have neuroprotective effects, meaning they protect your brain when there's antioxidants. You're going to get more antioxidant production from exosomes. They help protect your brain against traumas, stress, neural inflammation from some of the chemicals and infections that we get exposed to. If you've heard me talk about the mycotoxin exposure, and the volume of mold that we have is enormous. When we test you guys, it's literally the antibodies are through the roof in 95% of you. And so these are things, once again, to create an ageless future, it's going to be really important to protect your brain, and you protect your brain by removing any kind of stressors, as many as possible. The other thing exosomes have been shown to do is enhance synaptic plasticity, where your brain has the ability to create these new neural pathways so your brain can actually function better as you age. It promotes neurogenesis, so these new neurons it helps improve mitochondrial dysfunction, which is at the core of all aging, is mitochondrial dysfunction. It helps with any kind of stressors like oxidative stress or ER stress. So a lot that can be done there. The other thing that we're seeing that really helps the skin, helps the brain, is these umbilical cord or amniotic or placental derived growth factors. And these are where you have stem cells. You also have the naturally occurring growth factors. This is what I saw in my brain. I guess it's been over a decade now when I did the intranasal stem cells. It was game changing. I went from not being able to read a page in a book without being distracted, and to being able to read 2-3 books a week. And then I started writing books on my own. And no, I don't read that many books now. I listen to a lot of the books when I'm exercising. I love it. Thank you, the world of podcasting and Audible. It's so nice. And by the way, I do have my books on Audible. So I know some of you have asked. So the Peptide Blueprint is on Audible. It's not my voice. The time that it would require me, it was just so challenging to find a full day or two that I could block out. And so it's just an AI version, and I made it very affordable. It's like $1.99 or something. So if you want to listen to the book, and there's a couple of you on here who you have asked me directly, and so it is done. That was finished last week. So, and then Ageless Future, that book's going to be out in about 6 weeks. So we're meeting tomorrow with my editor. Hopefully we'll have the final touches on it. But it will cover that. Some of the peptides you can use for skin regeneration, GHK copper. This peptide, it's 3 peptides. So it's a bioregulator. And the copper that's bound to this peptide sequence, what it does is it carries the DNA or the GHK right into the DNA, and it helps clean up the signaling of the DNA. And some of the studies, this one is titled The Effects of GHK-Cu. Cu is copper on MMP and TIMP, collagen, elastin, and facial wrinkles. And so MMP is a protein that is built up when there's scar tissue, as in TIMP. TIMP2 is a really expressive protein for regeneration. And so they're looking at it on these pathways in the body. And in the 2018 in their randomized double-blind study, the conclusion was it increases collagen and elastin production. It improved wrinkle parameters versus the vehicle peptide control, so versus the blinded group. And this is something that I've used GHK copper for years. I use GHK copper. I use melanotan. I've done the stem cells in the face. I need to do it again. I did it like 8 years ago, but it hurts. You know, I'm wimpy, but I've never had Dr. Steinley do it. She's great. The other thing that you can use for the brain that also will calm the skin is cerebrolysin. And here is a study, it's called Cerebrolysin in Mild to Moderate Alzheimer's. This was a meta-analysis. So they looked at all the studies that had been done on cerebrolysin for, mild to moderate Alzheimer's. And what they found is, and this was way back in 2015, there's so many more studies now, but they found improved cognition, global outcomes versus placebo. And they found it helps with Alzheimer's disease, it helps with stroke recovery, and it's very safe. And in many European countries, cerebrolysin is an approved treatment for cognitive decline, Alzheimer's, dementia. United States has been very slow. I think there's the big pharma can't get the patent on it, and so they haven't gone all in. But we can go all in. So this is where I do cerebrolysin IVs. I'll do a series of 5 of these twice a year. And I'll do them weekly. If I'm in the office more frequently, I'll do it every day. Here's some things you can stack. You can stack the topical GHK, and that's the Vitali. If you guys are ever purchasing GHK copper and you want to know it's the real thing, make sure there's a little purple color in there. There's probably not the right molecule. You can use vitamin C, omega-3s, magnesium glycinate. Make sure you're getting lots of training. So exercise. The funny thing is, and we talk about the 30-30 protocol in exercise, is you want to be sweating every day. And sweating is not where I just know, like, okay, you're getting your heart rate up. That's an important feature of it, but you're getting the heat shock proteins. So you're activating more of your own free circulating MOD-SC. So you're getting your own peptide formula there. But the real benefit of sweating every day is it detoxifies your skin. And it's one of the best ways you can keep your skin super healthy is just to have a good sweat. And it doesn't have to be a whole bunch, but just make sure you get a little bit of a sweat going every day. And some of you live like down in Florida. And so you're like, Regan, I can't not sweat. And so that's great. But for those of us who live here in the desert, the high desert in Utah, when it's cold, I got to work extra hard to get my sweat going. So but some of the labs you can look at your high sensitivity C-reactive protein, look at your oxidative LDL, your homocysteine levels, your ferritin. These are really important metrics that you want to look at. And then, when you're training, make sure you're lifting weights 3 times, 4 times a week. Get on our app. If you're not on the app, you want to get on that because Nikki's done a phenomenal job at putting in these customized workout protocols for you. And then make sure that you're doing some kind of cardio. I'm a big fan of the ski erg. So if you're looking into that, I definitely recommend it. It's well worth it. And then once we get the Stratosphere, come join us there. Some of the things you can do is, get your labs ran. If you haven't ran those in a while, go to agelessfuture.com, schedule with the team. We'll get those set up. And then if you would like a nice facial cream, Vitali, you can just call the office and we can send you the Vitali. It's got the GHK copper in it. And then consider doing some exosomes on your gorgeous face. We only get one in life, and so why not maximize how you look and feel? Diane, the name of the app is just East West Health, and you can access it there and get some really good protocol advice. So, and if there's any other questions, I'm happy to take those now. But your action item for the day is see what you can do to protect the skin. And remember, the skin is The skin is just the surface of the book, and then but the skin also can reveal what's going on internally, and it's a big deal. So think of the gut, the brain, the skin. These are really important metrics, even from a diagnostic perspective. When you see the skin flared up, just don't take that as face value. Yes, remove the detergents, anything with fragrances in it. That's the first line of defense when it comes to toxicity. But man, get on it. Get your gut tested. Do a microbiota transplant every year is the strategy I've got right now. So it is kind of weird, I know, but we'll have another hack on it. So appreciate you guys. Love you. Thanks so much for being part of the Ageless Future community. And I hope to see you very soon, either in the office or ideally at one of our big events. We're going to have more and more coming up this year. So get ready.